So guys, today we are going to review lab safety. Remember, you have to have a safety contract and you have to have a pass the safety test with 90%. Now, it's the exact same test you've taken in every other science class, and it's the same one you will take in all of your science classes here at Pleasant Plains. We will share between the teachers, and I'm just going to do a quick overview. One, because if we stay remote, you really don't need this unless I ask you to do some things at home. It's a basic idea of being safe. And two, even a lot of this doesn't apply to my classroom, so we're going to be a quick. So first, introduction. You have to make sure you are safe. It is your responsibility. We don't want anybody to get hurt or die. I need you to be able to take notes. I need you to be able to understand what's going on and be safe in the classroom or at home. Oh, come on, move. There I am. All right. So follow all directions. Follow all directions with any lab. Make sure you are paying attention, listen to what the teacher says, and follow the written instructions. Make sure you're prepared and you read the labs beforehand. You don't want to have any surprises. Make sure that you only do what the teacher is asking you to do, what I'm asking you to do. You don't want to do anything outside. Make sure you only use the chemicals I ask you to use. Don't use anything that you don't decide you want to try to do two things different. Make sure to read all chemical labels and know what you're looking at. Make sure that if you read a chemical label, and I'll go with a standard one, that it says 70% isopropyl alcohol. If I needed 70%, pay attention to those details. Make sure you wear your safety goggles and aprons whenever you are working with chemicals. You need to make sure you have splash protection at any time. Any of your personal stuff, take away from the area. If you don't need it for the lab, put it away. Make sure you're not wearing anything bulky or loose because it'll get caught. Keep your long hair tied back. If it can go back, it should go back. Roll up your sleeves so it doesn't drag in the chemicals. Make sure your stomach is not exposed because you don't want anything to roll off the desk and straight onto your stomach. Make sure you have closed-toed shoes to protect your feet, and make sure you're wearing a lab apron. Do not play around in any kind of lab. If you play around in a lab, you can cause problems with not only yourself but somebody else, and somebody could get hurt. Never eat or drink, even chewing gum. You don't realize how often as you chew gum your mouth opens, and even in dissections I've had those chemicals fly into people's mouths. It's actually happened several times, so no gum in the lab at all, even dissections. If you are going to need to smell a chemical, make sure that you waft the chemical. Don't smell it like that. You should never taste it or touch it. If a chemical is hot, you should either use proper carrying equipment and or let it cool. Cooling is best, but if you have to grab it, then use beaker tongs or something. If it's something hot, you should not carry it throughout the classroom. You want to keep everything condensed. If something happens, you should always tell the teacher, no matter how small. I can decide if it's important or not really quickly. You should wash your hands before and after every lab, every time. You don't know how often you can drag things through. Like with COVID, we're a little more understanding about how much our hands touch, but we pay attention to that. If you get any kind of spill on you, you need to run a ton of water over it for about 15 minutes. Small areas like your hand can happen in a sink. If it's a larger area, you need to use the safety shower, which is on this side of my classroom. And if it's in your eyes, you need to use the eye wash station and rinse your eyes, hold open your eyes and rinse your eyes for 15 minutes to make sure that you don't lose any sight. If you spill a base, anything that's basic, you should use some dilute acetic acid, which is vinegar, but acetic acid for the test, to help neutralize it. If you have spilled an acid, you should use sodium bicarbonate or baking soda to help neutralize it. You should always know where a fire extinguisher is, and in all the science classes they're by the door and in the lab room. You know where the eye wash station is and the safety shower. They are both on just across from the door in every room. A fire blanket. I do not have a fire blanket in my classroom, but every other science teacher does. So just know that if somebody happened to catch fire, you go get a fire blanket from Mrs. Peters or Mr. Gilbreth. The closest fire alarm here at the school, the closest fire alarm is by the door by Mr. Conklin's room and where the closest exit is. You can leave the main door in my classroom, you can leave through the lab room, and you can leave through Mrs. Peters' room to get out. And appropriate disposal containers. You need to know where the glass bucket is, or if I say a chemical needs to be put in something, pay attention to where that's at. Make sure I am the first person to notice if anybody gets hurt or if you see smoke or fire. Make sure you know how to use a fire extinguisher. A fire extinguisher, you need to remember pass, pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. You pull the pin, kind of like your grenade to break that zip tie. You aim. You want to aim at the top of the flame and then squeeze the handle and sweep down. And you do that, you don't want to aim at the bottom of the fire because if there's papers there, you can actually spread the fire. So pass, pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. If a person is on fire, always use a fire blanket. Don't use a fire extinguisher. It can actually cause more harm. Don't ever turn the gas or anything on without my knowledge. In my classroom, the gas is almost never on, and we almost never use fire, which is why I do not have a fire blanket. If you are going to heat a test tube, make sure when you heat a test tube that you pointed the opening of the test tube towards no one else, because that liquid can boil quickly and possibly burn somebody. So if you have hot glass, make sure that you make sure it's not hot before grabbing it and or use something proper to hold it. So to do that, you just bring your hand close to the glass, and if you feel radiated heat, don't touch it. If you don't, do a quick touch. If you do feel something there, again, wait. If you don't, then you can do more until you realize if it's comfortable to carry. When you are putting glass stoppers into a thermometer, you are going to twist, and you do that so it doesn't stab your hand. You're going to wrap your hand with a paper towel to help add a layer of protection, and you're going to use lubrication, usually water, maybe glycerin, to help do that. It's not something that you guys are probably going to do, but it is on the safety test. If you break glass, clean it immediately. Tell me right away. Use broom and a dustpan. Do not use your hands. More often than not, I will end up doing it, but sometimes if I have a lot going on, I may ask you to safely do it, but be careful. Do not put waste into the sink. You don't want anything to clog that sink, and it can cause a lot of problems. When you need to get rid of chemicals, make sure you know where they go. In this classroom, most of our chemicals can actually go down the sink because they are harmless, but if not, I will tell you where to put it, and so pay attention to what I say. Pipettes, in our classroom, we're only going to use pipettes that are plastic and disposable, so this is not an issue. But on the test, it may say never pipette by mouth, and what that means is the pipette looks like a straw, a glass straw, and there's a rubber bulb. And if you can't find that rubber bulb, some people have been stupid enough to use their mouth to suck up the liquid. That's just drinking chemical through a straw. That's stupid. If you spill something, clean it up immediately and tell the teacher. If you plug or unplug something, make sure your hands are dry and you're holding the actual plug, not the cord. Clean up as you go. If students are not allowed in the chemical storage area, now my chemical storage area mostly contains animals stuff, so you are allowed in there with permission, but in Mr. Conklin's you are not allowed ever. If you have a science project that you need to do, make sure you have full permission before doing it. And then you have the test. So you will be doing the test to certify. It is an easy test grade, which will help your grade a lot. If you don't get a 90%, you just need to retake it. It never changes. And we will have it ready for you to be sent out soon. So, and also I need a safety contract from you all signed by you and your parent. And that's it for today. So be safe and have a great day.